What's going on, boxing fans? I'm back here with another video here, chef, for you guys. Gonna be going over what happened over this past weekend, which was Saturday, or excuse me, not Saturday, Sunday night. For us boxing fans in America, we had some early morning boxing and some boxing news to be able to go over to end that first off, starting with Jai Opetaia versus Claudio Secuo. Guy, pretty much a no name in the cruiserweight division. Italian undefeated fighter, has a pretty good KO ratio on his record and his resume. But this fight was a just a tune. I wouldn't say a tune up, but a stay busy fight for Jai Opetaia. Another defense for his belt. Another fight to just keep him warm and ready. And while it was that the case, Claudio, didn't come out and just lay down there early like a dog, but eventually he did. The first two rounds, Claudio was kind of busy, landing some nice overhand shots and trying to be active and trying to be able to put up some type of a fight throughout this fight. But eventually, Jai Opetaia started to just wear down, and you could just tell just by the frame. Claudio is a lot more denser, a lot more muscle mass on him, built more like a tank, and trying to be able to get into his range was very difficult because Jai Opetaia, especially him being a lot longer and more filled out and rangier in the cruiserweight division, it was just easier for him to be able to get into his distance and land the power shots. One thing that I was a little bit disappointed that I noticed in this fight was that Jai wasn't really working off the jab or wasn't throwing the jab a lot in this one. Maybe it wasn't needed, and obviously it wasn't needed. He got the TKO finish in the fifth round, so really looking at it, I mean, did he really need to be able to use that jab? But I just wanted to be able to see a little bit more boxing out of him. Use a jab, touch, and then go. He did it a few times every here and there, but again, the jab for him so far in this fight was a non-factor. And then going into the fourth round, where you get a little bit of controversy. Obviously, it didn't really amount much to anything because eventually Opetaia did get the knockout in this one. Where in an exchange in a close firing in the pocket type of situation, where Opetaia has like his hand cupped around Claudio's back of the neck, and he throws this nice short left hand right to the liver or right to the solar plexus, and while he does, Claudio goes down and is talking about how the shot was low and then the referee didn't really call it as a knockdown. But, anyways, regardless, after that, Claudio was backed up in a corner, not really doing much and just getting pummeled after that. Goes into the fifth round. Jai Opetaia lands a beautiful right hook right in the temple, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Again, this fight was a pretty much stay busy fight, something for Jai Opetaia to be able to sink his teeth in and get another KO record on his resume, another undefeated fighter. But again, a no name. Really, we're just waiting for the unification bout between him and Gilberto Zudo Ramirez, where that fight seems to not be able to get in done anytime soon because he's going to be fighting on the Jake Paul card, where I'm going to make my predictions on that one very soon. So stay tuned for that, boxing fans. But yeah, pretty much that's all the cruiserweight division is pretty much just waiting on is Gilberto Ramirez and Jai Opetaia to finally just clash, because these two guys are clearing ahead, shoulders above everybody else in this cruiserweight division. Nobody else, I think, really gives them competition. Maybe it could be a tough fight with Badu Jack now being back into the fold, but even at his older age and all the wear and tear that he's been through so far, I don't think he's going to be able to put up that much of a fight, especially as a young, hungry, in his prime right now, Jai Opetaia. Gilberto Ramirez, who I think is a very good fighter but not a great one, is in a different tier compared to those type of names. So yeah, we're just waiting on that. And the other fight that happened on that Sunday morning, Junto Nakatani fought against Nishida. Don't want to be able to butcher his first name. And this one was one that I believe that Nakatani jumped up in his weight division in this one, where he's trying to be able to get that big, Japanese. Obviously there's a lot of money to be able to be made in that type of fight between him and Inoue. But in this one, with him jumping up in the weight division, because they were talking about it a lot in the commentary, one thing that I can be able to say is that, bro, a lot of credit and a lot of respect to Nishida. There was a lot of moments where he stood toe-to-toe and got into exchanges with Nakatani, and obviously you can see that the power discrepancy was just not way too much in terms of Nakatani, but it was definitely wearing on the face of Nishida. While he was an undefeated fighter, he was a champion, and he was coming in with a lot of courage and not knowing and being very ignorant of knowing how to lose. Really, just going out there on his shield and didn't really care about the Nakatani name or what comes behind his aura and all these other things and whatnot. He was in there to be able to fight. He was trying to be able to win. He landed some good shots. Obviously, there wasn't much. I'm not going to say he didn't have any type of power. There was a few shots that didn't really wobble or hurt Nakatani, but definitely caught his attention and made Nakatani more defensively aware and more responsible instead of just going in there and try to be able to just wing shots and get him out of there. But eventually, Nakatani just started to implement his game plan, continuously landing these left hands that just shut the right eye of Nishida, just closed it up. You already seen the effects of it where it was getting close to being done in that sixth round, where it wasn't a domination, but it started to get to that point where Nakatani just started to wear more down on Nishida. You can tell where the fight was going to be able to go to in that second half of that fight. Called the fight off in that sixth round. Nakatani gets a sixth round retirement, finish KO over Nishida in a new division, or so I believe. And yeah, so he's looking like he's trying to be able to chase down Inoue. Uh, big fight between these two guys. Been wanting to be able to couple these dudes between each other for quite some time. One of the biggest names in boxing and Japanese boxing. Even though I'm not super knee deep in the trenches with those names, but obviously in the lighter weight divisions, they're not gonna have the biggest names in terms of other types of divisions that we have in boxing. But obviously the names of Junto Nakatani, like I've already mentioned, who he fought and got this victory over Nishida, which was impressive in my honest opinion, with him moving up in weight and still carrying that type of power and still having the boxing capabilities that he has. Even though there are some lapses, there's some weaknesses, there's some holes, especially in his defense, where him and Inoue, that type of fight would be definitely something to be able to say. I would definitely think that Inoue would be favored in that one, but Nakatani, 100% in that southpaw stance, has a lot of problems that he's going to be able to give to Inoue. Something that Inoue, I think, hasn't really had, even though he does have a great resume, that being Inoue. Um, I don't think he's ever fought somebody like a Nakatani in their prime as of right now. That's on that type of tier level in terms of boxing ability as well, like a Nakatani. Somebody in the lower weight class, besides them, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Really, those are the only three names that I'm, up to par that's knowing as of right now in their prime, ready in their career to be able to continue to go. That I want to be able to see those guys duke it out with each other eventually. Hopefully, we will get those matchups later down the line or sooner rather than later. Hopefully, but yeah. That is my boxing recap for this past weekend. We already went through Saturday's fights. We just got through Sunday morning's fights. And obviously, yeah, like this video. If you obviously like this video, comment your opinions on boxing scenes as of right now with Junto Nakatani. Potentially getting the fight with Inoue sometime, maybe this year later, maybe next year. I don't know when they're going to be able to do that, but hopefully I'm assuming that they're going to be getting that done soon. And Jai Opetaia getting his another steadfast win, keeping him busy, keeping him warm to potentially get into that big unification bout with Gilberto Ramirez if he does take care of business against Yunel Dorticos. But yeah, subscribe, boxing fans. Obviously, you're here for a reason, and you're gonna be continuing here for a reason because you love it here, and I love you that you're here. Thank you again for watching again, and peace.